Hey guys, Station X here. We are going to be talking about, mainly showing off my pickups, and this is going to be video game pickups number 7 Sports Edition. I figured I'd dedicate an episode to just sports games for this one, just specifically because I got a lot of sports games in this pickup here, and thankfully didn't have to spend a whole lot, really practically nothing, because sports games are very cheap, especially if you're buying them like throughout the, just throughout. Typically the ones that are the most expensive are the last ones to the system, or ones that for whatever reason or another just did not get a lot of prints. But typically your Maddens, your NBA 2Ks, your Fifa Soccers, your MLB The Shows, even your Tiger Woods, all of those are typically very inexpensive, very cheap, very easy to come across. They're the most common type of video game you'll find ever. Anytime you go to a video game lot or garage sale, anywhere you sell games, period, this is going to be the thing that you see the most of, except for maybe major retail stores. But in mom and pop shop stores, of course, like that's another place they'll just find a bunch of these. But of course, there's always those ones that are so rare you get, like the NCAAs or something like that. They end up becoming really expensive because still there are people who really like sports games and they'll hold on to that. But without further ado, let's just jump right into this. I got some Xbox One stuff, Xbox 360, and a whole bunch of PS3 sports games, mainly the MLBs. And let's just go into that real quick because I'm more of a baseball guy myself. We got 11, 12, and 13. This one has some writing on it, so I might have to scrub that off there. But baseball, what's funny about the MLB The Show is that recently they have ceased to be a PlayStation exclusive, because this is the only sports series that I think of that was exclusive to a system in recent memory. I believe the first MLB The Show games came on the PS2. Like, they were on the PS2, obviously moved on to PS3, on into PS4. And what's really interesting is just PS5 is the only PlayStation since this series creation that did not have a MLB The Show exclusive to it. PS4 has a bunch of them exclusive to it, except for their, I think up to 20, yeah, because 21 was when they moved to PS5. So we had, PlayStation 4 had their own MLBs, PS3 had their own MLBs, PS2. So yeah, literally PS5 is the only PlayStation that has MLBs that are not exclusive to that console. So that's kind of something, and it's still made by Sony, like it's Sony Studios. So I mean, that's kind of interesting to me. I don't know. But something also I wanted to show off, because they were not the only baseball game in town, was Major League Baseball 2K. Like 2K had the baseball license to make simulated baseball games, but over time, I believe this series just had bad game after bad game, and it just bit the dust. It almost went the way of how WWE 2K had 2K20 doing so bad that they had to stop making it for a year. I honestly thought that we were going to not see any more WWE 2K games, but baseball ended up just being on PlayStation for a long time because of this. Now, of course, I have a PS3 version of this, but this was on the Xbox 360 and stuff, and I believe on the Wii. So this is the only way to play baseball on other systems. So once this went down, I guess RBI is another one, but this and The Show were the ones that you wanted to play. But moving on from that, we got Fifa Soccer. Of course, 2 different Fifa Soccers, both made by the same company. Now, they used to, I don't know if they still do this, because I haven't seen one, but they used to make like World Cup specific FIFA games. I remember there was like the 06 one, here was 2014. So I don't know what happened to that. I guess they just didn't feel the need to do them anymore, because I never saw one on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. But on the 360 and PS3, I saw these, so I don't know. And then here's FIFA 15. fairly common, so there's not really much I could say to it because I'm not super into soccer. I do have a few soccer games that I do play, like FIFA 18 I play on the Switch, so that's pretty much it. Here we got Madden 15, and I might as well just get this one out of the way, Madden 16, because they're practically the same to me. This one's actually sealed, so I have a few games here that are sealed because they're not hard to find sealed. Most stores, when they don't have they don't sell them out, this is common. So I mean, they'll just have copies upon copies that are just never been sold and stuff because they overproduce sports games. Like, they just make sure they're in stock. You know, you'll never have a situation really when they're not available, with the exception of maybe NHL, but that's just because that one's not as popular in certain areas. So just maybe in specific areas you might run into that issue. But yeah, I mean, not hugely into Madden. In fact, this is kind of the sports series that I steer clear from the most. So I mean, that's all I really gotta say about that. And then let me just move on to this one. This is the only one I have as well. Tiger Woods PGA Tour. Now, what's interesting is that in 2021, or I guess 2020, 2K did make a PGA or a golf game. So that was added to their repertoire of sports games they did. They did NFL at one point. They had baseball. They obviously have their basketball games. They have WWE. So they had golf, but they didn't make a 22. Or as far as I'm aware, they do not have a PGA 2K22. So I think that's fairly interesting. I guess this did not sell well at all because, it just did not do well. They didn't make another one. So, but this is always the one that I heard of the most, and I don't think this made it past the 7th generation because I never really saw a Tiger Woods game on PS4 or Xbox One. I just never saw it. So I'm pretty sure this series stopped on the 7th generation systems. But I kind of want to, group these together. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of want to group these together because these are the NHL games. So here I have NHL 14 for both Xbox 360 and PS3, which is kind of funny. And that's, again, something very annoying you're going to run into, is just having multiple versions on multiple versions of a single game. But that's just, when you're completing systems, if you want every PS3, every 360, that's just kind of the way it is. But thankfully, you could either find these really cheap or almost free, because some people will just have it sit there for so long when they're trying to sell it, they'll just go, please take it. And they just don't want it. It's taking up space. NHL, I gotta say, is probably one of my favorites out of all the sports games besides WWE, specifically NHL 2002. This one we have with 13 and 18. But yeah, I just really like NHL 2002 and NHL Championships. Those are two NHL games I really like. Just because it's, I think, the most interesting of the sports games other than WWE, especially since, when you smack into people, you can fight, sometimes in sports that happens, you have people who have very high emotions going in, very competitive people, and they get frustrated. So, when there's shoving and pushing going on, you're going to throw some hands. And so I thought that was a really great feature. I don't know if they continued that throughout the years because I didn't play every single one, but that's just kind of something I miss in the NHL series. If they did take that out, that's a real shame. I'm assuming it did, because I don't know if they want to have, kids playing a game where they're just beating the snot out of people with NHL, but I liked it, so I don't know. And here we have NBA 2K. This is 2K's probably, most infamous sport other than EA's Madden. NBA 2K always comes out every year. If there's always a Madden, there's always an NBA 2K. And so those are the only two sports games I feel like that will last till the dawn of time, because 2K has their basketball, EA has their Madden, and I guess FIFA and NHL. But, still, this is the thing that 2K puts, I think, most of their focus on, I feel like, specifically, because even though they have the WWE one and then they did the golf thing, I mean, this is numero uno right here. This is the one where they showed the most effort. 2K15, 2K17, and of course 2K18 sealed. Now I have this on the Switch, and this is probably the one I play the most. But they do have a competitor, or at least they did, and it also made it on to the Xbox One and PS4, and that is NBA Live. EA did make an NBA game, and it was bad a lot of the times. So this NBA Live 10, again, another sports game. Just, it's basketball, but worse than, I mean, of course, I think 2K always did it better, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. I hope it was that 2K did it better. But, I mean, of course, having competition, I think, is good. Having more choices, having more options is always better than having just one. And so that's kind of the problem with a lot of the sports games now, and that they don't do innovative stuff a lot, is that they're the only game in town. And so if you want to play a basketball, football, whatever, you have to kind of choose that or just be done with it. And then, of course, we're going to finish this off. I probably should have grouped these together, but, you know, live and learn. The FIFA Soccer games, of course, we have 11, 12, and 14. These were on the 360. And I actually really like the fact that these are these metallic colors going on right here. At least they put some kind of effort into the cases and things like that. And if you notice too with EA, I don't know what it was during the 360 and PS3 era. I guess technically PS2, because they released them on there as well. But you notice that a lot of these have this matching thing going on. Even the Maddens back in the day. I don't know if I have the older Madden. I don't. But like even like older Maddens and stuff, like all their games, NHLs, FIFAs, all that, had this kind of thing going on. I think I have the old, no, 14 doesn't have it. No, but yeah, it's just insane. I mean, they eventually kind of did some differences with this, but like these just all look very similar to each other. I mean, what's the difference between these two other than the number? You have 3 dudes screaming, you know, and that's it. They literally, like, it's just so similar. It's almost like copy and paste. It's insane to me. But of course, lastly, we also have another MLB, Major League Baseball 2K8. I think this is one of the more better ones in my opinion. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have much to say about the sports games other than the fact that they are sports games. They're not necessarily my cup of tea, and I don't play them too often. It's just, I wanted to do a video of just showcasing them on their own, because also another thing that a lot of people do with sports games is that they kind of just take the cases and use them as replacement cases. The only issue I have with doing that is that they always come with these officially licensed products of whatever organization the sport's from, and whether it be MLB, NFL, NBA, whatever, these are annoying to take off, and it's just way more hassle to me. I'd rather just use like a Call of Duty case or something like that, something else that comes out every year that's more common, you know. But tell me what you guys think. Is there anybody in my audience that really likes sports games? I would love to hear that, because while I don't consider myself hugely into sports games, there are certain few that I do like picking up from time to time, and specifically the WWE ones I pick up every year. It's the only one I pick up every year because I'm a wrestling fan at heart, and I'm a sucker for that. So I mean, you know, guilty as charged. It's the only one I buy the special editions for. So I mean, you know, please tell me what you guys think. I've been Station X. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.